Welcome back to the Football Terrace. It's Rabiot Day. It's expected that Manchester United will finalise the personal terms with the agent of Rabiot, of course, his mother, I think her name is Veronica, today, and complete the deal for Adrien Rabiot to join Manchester United Football Club. On top of this, we're discussing Chelsea's reported imminent bids of Frankie de Jong and their pursuit of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. They need a striker. Barca still need to sell. Will those deals happen? And we're speaking Gakpo as well. Man United interested in a £35 million bid. I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. We haven't done a morning phone-in show for a while. We're going to be opening up the lines today for you to come on, for you to have your say, and for you to tell us what you think and feel. In fact, I'm going to share the link now. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what you think about these current deals, the start of the Premier League season, and all that jazz. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. We're still giving out memberships. We've got the latest piece of member-only content dropping later today. So you need to be a member to get that done. So make sure you're signed up to our membership scheme and make sure you are ready to go on that. If we hit 1,000 likes, no, I'll do it. Yeah, we hit 1,000 likes while we're live. We'll gift out another 20 memberships to you as we've been giving out for the past month or so. I know lots of you have been utilizing that and all that jazz. So yeah, it's good to see a lot of you like involved and a lot of you utilizing the membership levels that have been gifted out as of late. Morning, Charlie. Hope you're well. Hope you're good. Billy T's in the house. Morning to you. Hope you're well, my friend. The Rabiot move seems like a knee-jerk reaction. But let's talk about the Rabiot situation because I think it needs to be discussed here on the terrace today. There's no doubt about it. And look, I think a lot of people think it is, and I haven't bought into the Man United PR of he's been on the list and the manager's been talking to him. Look, the tier ones are all saying it, and when all the tier ones are saying it in this type of scenario, I just get the feeling this is a club brief. Is he an improvement on what Manchester United have got? Yes, I would say he is better than Scott McTominay, which is being reported as and that's the irony of these reports. It's the one midfielder that really gets everybody's goat. The tier ones are saying, oh, he plays Scott McTominay's position. He's coming in to improve on Scott McTominay, as if that's going to make us feel better about this deal. It isn't one that Man United fans want. It isn't a deal that anybody expected. And I agree with you, the Aussie Gooner. I do think it is a somewhat knee-jerk kind of reaction, if that makes sense. So I totally get sort of where you're kind of coming from. I do get the frustrations that I do get the frustrations that fans sort of feel in relation to the deal. There's no doubt about it. But what is being reported to bring this round is that John Myrtle is flying out to meet with the agent's mother, who we know. I think I want to say her name is Veronica, to finalize the personal terms and complete the deal. Now, interestingly, Monaco were interested, and seemingly a big kind of build up to the PSV Monaco game last night, because obviously Gakpo is involved as well. What's going on? Look, Man United will land Rabiot over Monaco, even with Champions League football, in my opinion. We are still a bigger football club. I don't think anybody has any fears over that. The Gakpo situation as well is also an intriguing one because, I mean, he's actually a very talented player. But the problem with Gakpo's link right now, and I said it in the video last night, it kind of comes at the same time as Man United fans are hugely frustrated at Rabiot, at the situation with Arnautovic. Of course, that isn't happening now. It makes you wonder as to what. I mean, they're talking about like United want like a third choice, really physical type attacker, and I just sort of think, well, there's a number of them in the Premier League you could go and get. I'm not saying he's good enough to make Man United get into the top four, but go and sign Ollie Watkins for 30 million. That's a better deal for Man United over a 2 or 3 year period than Arnautovic. Go and test the waters for a Danny Ings. Like there are players out there that already play in the Premier League that are better than Arnautovic, more stable than Arnautovic, better characters than Arnautovic, don't have the sort of xenophobic background of Arnautovic that Man United could bring in. It's just a weird deal. So Gakpo's kind of been caught up in all of this. That is a good piece of business if Manchester United can pull that off. At £35 million, That's more than half the price that Ajax wanted for Anthony. And there's no way Anthony is twice, 3 times the player of Gakpo. It's an improvement. Is it a player which I'm sitting there thinking, oh, we're cooking after this. We're going to challenge for that top 4? No, I need to see this team play more. I need to see improvements. But the big question is still, who comes in to replace Paul Pogba? Who's going to replace Nemanja Matic? Who is the alternative to De Jong, who seemingly looks more and more Chelsea-bound each and every single day? I can't get my sort of feelings essentially away from this. I just can't. It feels to me that there's too much. There's too much going on here. There's too much being said here around Chelsea and De Jong for me to believe anything other than it's going to go in that direction. Let's go to some more of your comments that are coming through here. Facts, Rabiot is better than what United have. He is better than what Man United have, but it's almost like one of these things like, I need to start eating healthier, right? Because I've got high cholesterol. This is hypothetical. I'm fine, by the way. I've got to start eating better. My cholesterol's too high. I need to eat better food. It's like going from, if I go from eating McDonald's hamburgers to eating gourmet burgers, I'm still eating burgers. I'm still eating I'm still having the bacon on it. Still got the cheese on it. Still got all them fats coming into me. Still eating fries on the side. Just because it tastes a little bit nicer, just because it's slightly higher quality food, doesn't mean I'm not clogging up my arteries with fat and grease. And that's what Man United are doing for me with Rabiot. We're going from McDonald's to a Byron burger. I don't know if they're Byron burger anywhere else around the world, but it's still a burger. What we need is a nice sirloin steak. In fact, they're like a T-bone steak. We need creme de la creme here. Get rid of the fries. Get some nice mashed potato on the side. Some real good gravy. Homemade gravy, by the way. That's what we need right now, but we're not. We're bargain bucket shopping. Rabiot, Savic, Frankie de Jong, Neves, then United are cooking. By the way, look, if Man United were to add Neves, Savic to the Rabiot signing, suddenly the Rabiot signing doesn't appear as bad. Okay, well, he's a backup then, right? Fine. If you're signing Rabiot as a backup, it's better than our current backup. I get it. But we need to be improving our first team on a legit level, and Man United haven't done that enough over the last few months. There's no doubt about it. Don't know much on Gakpo besides his name being so. Rabiot, I'm a bit more meh. Overwhelming is what David Gardner thinks there. I can't believe United have allowed all this drama to be played out so transparently. It's clear they are in trouble. I couldn't agree with you more. And you know me, I'm a positive Man United fan. I'm a positive person in life. If somebody tells me they're going to change, I give them time to change. I've done that with friends of mine. I've done it with family members. I've done it with partners. Someone says, you know what? I'm going to try and do something differently. I'm like, okay, cool, go for it. You might be with someone that I've got a friend who I'm going to give up smoking. All right, I'm going to encourage you to give up smoking. And you said it 3 other times and failed, but I'm still going to encourage you. That's just how I am as an individual. And I was doing that with Man United this summer. New people running it, new regime. Let me see what they do before I moan. And this action right now worries me massively. Had to say Terry is really late, but lateness is not only greatness. There's some streamers who are also late. It's very disrespectful to their viewers. I hear what you're saying, my friend, but we don't try to be late. I'm not late all the time. Half the time I'm late because guests are late arriving, because people have got jobs, people have got families, people have got kids. Some of the mornings when I'm late, it's because I'm dropping my kids off at school and one of my kids might be crying, doesn't want me to go, or at nursery, so I have to wait with them a little bit. I have like real life issues outside that sometimes make it hard to be completely on time. Plus, what sometimes happens, and I don't always reveal this, is I'm about to go live and a new piece of news and information comes out, so I want to read it before I go live. So I'm as up to date as possible. I apologize if you find it disrespectful, but it's never meant in a disrespectful way. My brother here, Josh King, says, I've been convinced by the GC that Rabiot could be a very good buy. Neither Cooley or Bentancur were rated coming from January. They've been great. That is a really good point. And I'm not going to be swayed just yet, but that is a good point. When Spurs signed Bentancur and Kulusevski, they were laughed at. Kulusevski especially is now being looked at as one of the best attackers, wingers in the league. You never know. If Rabiot comes into Man United and performs for us how he was doing 4 or 5 years ago, excellent. My fear is a little bit Sal Niguez. Sal Niguez is a player I've loved, a player I've rated, who I thought could really go on to bigger and better things. But when I watched him play for Chelsea last year, he just looked shot. He looked past it. But I hope you're right, Josh. I hope you're right. Because, by the way, I'm not happy with the signing, but as a Man United fan, I want him to do well. I'm not one of these weirdos who's going to want him to foul to say, I was right. That's not really my way. Fred and Edison, BFFs, and the roller coaster video. Yeah, a lot of footballers are friends that you wouldn't expect. You know that Steven Gerrard, Joe Hart, and Wayne Rooney used to holiday with their families together. They just did. United fans keep deluding themselves. The fact is, United managed to find a midfielder who's worse than McFred. Facts is what Eric Ten Hag's got to say. Interesting take. Worse than McFred. Want your thoughts on that? Gavin here says, Terry, much news on the player Savic from Lazio. United apparently bid for him 68 million. Does that mean De Jong deal finally dead in the water? If Man United have bid for Milinkovic Savic, 110%, that means the De Jong deal is over. I already think the De Jong deal is over. As I tweeted last night. I stand by everything I've said this summer. I think Frankie De Jong would have joined United. I think he was happy with the personal terms offered to him by Manchester United. What's holding the deal up? And this is the irony in it, is everybody said Man United fans were deluded to think that De Jong would ever think about joining them. And what's now being twisted is this: Frankie De Jong is telling Man United no. He's telling them no in relation to, I'd rather go to Chelsea than Man United. And we already knew this all the time. This isn't like new news. I spoke about it. If you go back and look at so many Frankie De Jong videos, you'll find my sentences in there where I state that if a Chelsea come in for Frankie De Jong, Man United are dead in the water. What's still holding up his Chelsea transfer, as it were, is this deferred wages situation. What's holding up Chelsea making an official bid is the ultimate green light from the player, because the final decision with Barcelona has been made. The scenario hasn't changed. All that's happening now is another club is involved. The difference between Man United and Chelsea is Man United have made an official approach to Barca. Chelsea are ready to make an official bid as soon as the situation is resolved. But in actuality, they're in exactly the same position. The difference being Frankie De Jong will pick Chelsea over Manchester United, better run club, better manager, better current system, and they have the Champions League. And system is in the overall structure of the football club. Nobody should be surprised, shocked, or, oh, I can't believe this has happened. People like myself have been telling you all summer, Man United can sign him. He's likely to leave Barcelona in the end when the deferred wages situation is resolved. However, if a Chelsea or a Bayern or a PSG came in, Man United had no chance, irrespective of Ten Hag's relationship with him. And it's literally, it's quite literally going that way. Chris here says you're confusing opinions with facts. Well, my opinions are what I think the facts will be. So there's no confusion there. We were given all the news stories. That's what we told as fact. Having dissected hundreds of news stories about De Jong, my prediction still looks like it's coming to fruition. That in the end he would leave Barcelona. It's the deferred wages that are holding him up. I believe he was happy to join Man United and Frank and Eric Ten Hag. But if a big team with Champions League football came in, he would go to them instead. And that's very much the story and how it looks like it's going. My opinion hasn't overtly changed over the course of the summer, my friend. So my opinion is based on the facts we've been given and what I think, because what we've not been told is any definitives. We were told he won't take a pay cut, but doesn't want to leave. Okay, then what's the end result of that? Oh, we don't know. We have to wait and see. So you can't not give an opinion because no fact of what he would do in the end has been given. Why? Because the player kept his options open the whole time, which was always the case. This is a great question from Anthony. Where will Gakpo play? Well, primarily he plays on the left-hand side. So he will take Rashford's position in the team, in my opinion. And in fact, he needs to take Rashford's position. He absolutely has to take Marcus Rashford's position in this team. And I'll tell you as to why. Because Marcus Rashford right now, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but I'm probably going to, looks absolutely finished. He looks absolutely finished at Manchester United. He doesn't even look like he's going to get back to his best. And Gakpo coming in is going to be a very interesting test for Marcus Rashford. Because last year when somebody was in the team ahead of him, what did he do? He cried, he bitched, he moaned, and he cried and he bitched and he moaned and he started talking about leaving. And for me, as soon as he started talking about leaving, I thought this guy doesn't have fight. It changed my opinion somewhat on his I'm just trying to add the call-in link again because people are asking for it. I'm one of these people where I look at it and think to myself, well, you ain't got no character if you can't fight for your place. Gakpo coming in, I think what we will see from Rashford is someone downing those tools again. What I think we'll see is somebody throwing their toys out the pram. I think we'll see somebody not get behind this club. The Aussie Gooner says back to the convo that players will move on from clubs they may love in order to play football and get paid. Exactly, 110%. As this comment here says, Frankie de Jong has zero chance of reducing his salary. He wants to stay until 2026 with the same terms. Yeah, but you know, say he wants to stay, but no one has reported Barca will allow that. And what I mean by Barca will allow that is clubs it'll be forced out. You know, they won't play him. You know, they'll do whatever they can. They've already started to do that. You know, they're threatening to take him to court to annul that contract, meaning he won't get it anyway. We'll see what happens. Look, if he ends up staying at Barcelona, I would be honestly very, very shocked indeed. I really, really would, especially with Chelsea interested in him. Chelsea is a big club, and let's see what happens. But again, comments like this from journalists, it doesn't tell us anything. We already know he wants to stay at Barca idealistically, but will he stay if they take him to court? That's what I want. Like, if you're a journalist and you've got access to Barca and you've got access to the player, why are you not reporting on that element? What happens if your client gets taken to court? What are you going to do? That's the question you've got to be asking, right? Not telling us the same shit for 8 weeks. We know he doesn't want to leave Barca ideally, but he doesn't want to take a pay cut. What's the end result going to be? That's what these journalists have got to tell us. Terry, the difference between Sal and Rabiot is Sal was not good even when Atletico were doing great, but Juve have been average for the past 3 seasons. What's your point there? I don't get your point. Maybe I'm missing it a little bit. What is your point overall on that one, my friend Zane? Let me know. Gakpo is primarily what's interesting about the Gakpo links, though. What I like about the Gakpo links is how when Arsenal were linked to him a little while back, I saw the TL on fire. Oh my God, this guy looks great. This guy looks brilliant. Now United are linked to him. It's being called a panic buy, being called, not a quality player. I will take that Arnautovic and Rabiot feel very panicky. But Gakpo, I'm quite impressed with Gakpo. That's not a deal that annoys me. Not at all. So I needed some water there. I got to go gym later. I've had a few weeks off. Back to the gym today. I don't want to, but I got to. Getting old. Make sure you're hitting those likes, people. 1,000 likes, and we'll gift out more memberships. Quite a few of you haven't renewed your memberships. Remember, when all the new content starts dropping, it's been planned. It's on its way very, very soon. We've already released one bit. You will miss out on that, and we want you to be involved. So get your memberships renewed ASAP, my people. Get that done. Moose Wiz says 2 a.m. here in the States. Every morning I wake up at 6, hoping to see Fofana and De Jong. Here we go. Well, let's give you an update on Chelsea's situation. So Chelsea's situation is interesting. Fofana, look, there's all different reports about how big and where the bids are at. We're going to have Ben Jacobs on the show 4 p.m. UK time. So that'll be about 8 a.m. Your time. So if you're up, make sure you're there for Ben Jacobs live 4 p.m. UK time today. They've put that bid in. That deal looks like it's motoring ahead. The Aubameyang situation and De Jong situation feel a little bit more complex. And when I say a little bit more complex, I think it's a case of Arsenal still don't know who and what they're selling yet. That's the long and the short of the situation. That's the long and the short of the situation as it stands right now. They don't know exactly what's going on. They don't know who's taking pay cuts. The fourth lever hasn't been activated yet. They don't quite know. So that makes it a little bit difficult for Chelsea. But I did read this morning that, this is what I read this morning, that Chelsea are interested in Aubameyang for the past week and will decide whether to make a proposal soon. The belief is that the relationship with Thomas Tuchel from their time at Dortmund is a key factor. So if Aubameyang were to go to Chelsea, it would be a very intriguing deal. So remember, I mean, this isn't being like packaged as a panic buy, but it's only been the past week that Chelsea have thought about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Is he an improvement on Werner? Yes. Is he an improvement on Lukaku? Yes. Is he going to score goals? I believe so. And I believe that if he joins Chelsea, he will be I think he will be a very, very good player indeed. What I was also told last night is that intermediaries have already been involved in these conversations regarding Aubameyang. and Barcelona are currently the intermediary has been in the Barca offices in the last few days because Chelsea are pushing to sign him. So there's been a number of reports that have kind of suggested this and spoke about this deal progressing and moving forward. How are Barca getting away with this? Well, I don't think they're getting away with anything. They're obviously like activating, income and money and stuff along those lines, and they're doing their business. They're doing their business. We'll see what happens. Gakpo shows good potential. How much weight do you lift at the gym? On what exercise? That's what do I squat? Like when I'm training properly, like right now, I'm not going to do this because I've been in and out of training for 6 months. When I'm like in full training, what do I squat? So the bar's 20. So like 2 plates each side. So what we got there, like 40, 80, like 100 kilos I'm squatting. Like it's not a lot. Like I'm not a bodybuilder. Squatting about that. Bench press, I'll have 2 plates each side. So I actually bench press about as much as I squat. My problem with squatting is I've got a very bad knee and a very bad ankle on the other side from my kickboxing and karate days. So I'm a bit scared. Squatting's like a bit of a myth for me. It's a hard one. I don't know. Like it depends. Certain things I'm strong on. Like my back's stronger than my chest, which is a weird thing for me because it just is. Like if I'm doing lats, like just like simple lat rows and stuff, I'm doing that with like 40 kilos. I'm all right. Like I'm strong. I'm no big body build up. I don't think I'm a big hard man in the gym. Like decent weight, like decent strength. Do you know what I'm saying? That's it. I don't know. Is that good, bad, indifferent? No idea. Same reporter says that Frankie don't care about if Barca take him to court. He will sit and wait. I think he's staying at Barca. Court is a process, is what Ricky Rick's got to say. Yeah, that's an interesting take, my friend. And look, we're going to see what happens in the end. I'm very intrigued by it indeed. I think Rabiot is such a horrible signing. Not about talent. His mentality stinks. His team will be garbage. SMS and Gakpo are good deals. Still panic. Yeah, I think it's if you sign another top class midfielder and you give up on Jong now, I don't see that so much as panic. Where I see panic is when the differential between Jong and the alternative is night and day. So Anthony to Gakpo, similar, right? Similar ability, similar output, similar overall quality, similar. I think Gakpo is a little bit older, to be fair, by a year or so. But it makes more sense. If you go from Frankie de Jong to Rabiot, it doesn't make sense. It's like going out. Like you got a new lady on your arm. Oh, we're gonna go car shopping today. You're looking at Lambos. You're looking at Ferraris. Oh, I don't like them. Let's go look at a top of the range Range Rover. Not getting that. And then going, oh, do you know what my second choice is? If I can't get any of them cars. What my next choice is I'm going to buy a Ford Mondeo. It doesn't make sense. That's just a weird drop. It's crazy. It's like going from Kanye West to Pete Davidson. Heard that's over now. Not that I get involved in any of that nonsense, but there we go. Wouldn't Ten Hag and Frankie just speak on the phone on Frankie's stance, though? They are from the same agency, along with Malacia, Donny, Lindelof, and Gakpo, by the way. United would have pulled out already if the papers were right. Listen, I think that's a fair point, Retro. I think that's a fair point. That's why I believe that he'll leave Barca. I believe a resolution can be found for him to leave Barca. But I've always felt that if a Chelsea comes in, I felt if a PSG or Bayern came in, that is where he would go. 100 kg is a lot to bench press. Think you're doing 60. No, but I'm talking about, again, I'm not doing like 3 sets of 10. That'll be like 2 or 3. Like that's like the heaviest I lift. If I'm like benching 3 sets, if I'm doing like 3 sets of 10, I'll normally have a plate. I normally have 30 each side, and obviously the bar weighs 20, right? So that's 60. That's 80. Yeah, like bench press is decent. Yeah. It's not that much, is it? Like there's guys in my gym that have like 3 or 4 plates each side. Like in my gym, I'm like there. It depends what the old gym I used to go to was like an old man's gym. I was the biggest, strongest man in there. I felt like Arnold Schwarzenegger in that gym when you when you're doing bench press next to an 80-year-old geezer who's like got little dumbbells. But I like doing what I think they're called suicide sets. The way I train is this: I'll go on the bench and I'll push out that. But then what I'll do is I'll do like a shoulder exercise until I fail straight afterwards. So I kind of do 2 lots of exercise in one. That way I'll get like 8 sets of training done, but I'll kind of work a separate muscle. So today I'm going to go in. Actually, I'm going back to the gym. So what I do for the first week is I will like do an exercise on each muscle, 4 days, 5 days running. And then what I do in my second week is I then focus. But when I do chest, I'll do chest and bicep. When I do back, I'll do back and tricep. I'll do a shoulder exercise almost every day. I have a dedicated shoulder day. I have a dedicated leg day, essentially. What I do need to add is a bit of coring because my stomach is getting a bit big, but there we go. Anyway, never count the bar. Well, you've got to count the bar in terms of the overall weight you're lifting, because some people will sometimes use a machine and be like, well, because there's like a bench press machine that's, I don't know what it's called, where it's like on the string, right? But that bar weighs a lot less. So some people think, oh, I can do this much weight on there. And then they go to a free weight bar and they suddenly go, oh my God, I'm putting the same plates on, but it feels heavier. So you've got to. The bar is part of the overall weight that you lift, my friend. That's what my PT says anyway. So I'm listening to my PT. Anyway, let's move on. I've done 3 reps on 100. That's big, man. That's serious. Well done, you. Anyway, let's move back on to talking about football, my friends. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. How many more do we need to give out the free memberships today? We need like 700 more likes. There's 2,000 people watching. Hit the damn thing. I never understand why you're not hitting it. Makes no sense to me. Get it done. Let's get those free memberships out for you as a thank you and a reward. Carl P here says Gakpo is a young Thierry. If you want to know what Arsenal fans think of Gakpo, go and do advanced searches on Twitter from like April, May, June with like hashtag AFC and Gakpo, and just go and screenshot lots of things Gooners have said. And then this is what rivals think. Like, you'll see how much Arsenal fans rated this guy, to be fair, if you go back to that time. Any news on Zaha to Chelsea? We'll have an update on that for you later on today when we have Ben Jacobs on the show. We're going to be going through that in more detail for you. We're going to start going to your calls soon, though, because I want to hear from you, the fans. That's what's very important. Balancing weight is also a great benefit as opposed to being on the one with wire. This is very, very true, my friend. PT, get a woman. My PT is a woman, actually. Her and her girlfriend, they switch and used to train me. Her girlfriend left, though, to become a prison warden. Made me laugh. Yeah, she left. I was gutted. She's very, very good. Big up yourself. Jess was her name. Jess and Annabelle, my 2 PTs. Very good ladies. Very good ladies indeed. PK and Busquets are already agreed to take a pay cut in order to register the new signings. De Jong Sal isn't necessary for registration. Yeah, I hear you there, Abdul. I hear that that's being said. Let's see what happens, though. Let's just see what happens. And if Frankie de Jong stays because they resolve the situation in other ways, that's different again. Like what I've said all along, Abdul, is the situations can change and then outcomes change. But Busquets, the 4th leather, PK, if this was going to be the case 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, we wouldn't be here now. So let's wait and see what happens. If that happens in the way that you're saying, great. Then de Jong stays. But he isn't staying based on the scenario. He's staying because situation has changed. It is what it is. Terry, your predictions for Usyk AJ. I want AJ to win because I want AJ Fury, but I'm slightly siding with Usyk. I'm slightly siding with Usyk. Slightly siding with Usyk, but we will see. I know that Gakpo plays at left wing, but you need a right winger. Yeah, I get that, but that for me has got to be Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho has got to be the guy to step up, do that, and get that done. Remember, people, we are sponsored by Private Internet Access, and we've done so well with that. We have been headhunted. So all I'm going to say on that, keep your eyes peeled. Something new coming to the Terrace soon. Scan that QR code, though, or click on the link in the description below to utilize their very good service. De Jong's wages are still a problem, Terry. They want to reduce them, but I don't think they're in a hurry, Terry, to resolve that issue. Then fair enough. Again, then that's a situation that's changed. Like, you can't judge people's opinions or what people think is going to happen if scenarios change. You know, it's the way of the world. Like, I'm wearing a coat and a hat today because I've been told by the weather forecast it's going to rain. You know, it is what it is. You prepare based on the information you've been given. You change based on new information. That's just the way the world is, my friend. Terry, what do you think of Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know much about that individual. And I'm one of these people. I'm not a liar. I don't like liars on social media that pretend they know about all players. I don't know much about this individual at all, if I'm being honest with you. I have heard of the geezer, but I don't know much about him. Where does he play? I'm just checking where he plays. Wolfsburg he's at. Yeah, I don't know much about him at all, so I'm not going to give you an opinion on him as a player. I've never really watched him play. I don't think I've watched a Wolfsburg game in my life. I definitely haven't watched the French under-20s play. So yeah, I don't know too much about him at all. Thoughts on Bentancur from Milan? Yeah, it could be a decent signing. But again, a player that I don't know enough about to give you a detailed breakdown of. A lot of people pretend to know everything about all players. They're liars. Don't trust them because they ain't out here watching that much football. Trust me. Right, I'm going to calls now, my friends. We've got Pav coming on. We've got young Tommy. We've got my mate, the Aussie Gooner. We've got Kai. I might even get a little panel going this morning on the terrace. That looks like panel material to me backstage. Some serious people back there. In fact, I think I might bring on a little panel, you know. I've got the Chelsea, I've got two Aussies backstage, the Aussie Gooner and the Chelsea OG, two Australians. I've got man like Pav, I've got Kai, we've got young Tommy, we've got El Ninos as well. I'm gonna do some calls first, then I'm gonna bring these guys on to have their say. I'm just looking for my thing here. Right, first to call in is gonna be young Tommy. What are you saying, young Tommy? How you doing, me old mate?
I'm all right, man. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good. What do you want to say?
Um, yeah, I think. Well, it's a shame on you guys because Frankie wants Chelsea. I do feel for you and the fans because you lot need him more than Chelsea. So it's a shame. It's a shame. Obviously, it's a shame. It's definitely going to go Chelsea and Aubameyang, Abba. He's done his bit for us. He's won us the FA Cup. He's done his bit for us. If he goes to Chelsea, I'm not going to be pissed. But I wish him the best. And Chelsea do need him. He's better than Werner and Lukaku's better than both of them put together. So if Aubameyang, so yeah, it'd be a good signing for Chelsea, and I think he'll definitely score them like probably say 20 goals for them. But yeah, like I said, he's done his bit. He's done a lot for us. Won us the FA Cup. So yeah, he's done his bit for us. But if he goes to Chelsea, wish him the best, and yeah, he'd be a good signing for them. Gakpo. Yeah, we were linked with him. Like a lot of our fan base, obviously don't want him in it. Like obviously, some of them want obviously Neto or Sane. Like obviously, I want Neto or Sane in it. So like yeah, but Gakpo, he's all right, but I don't want him in it. So, but is it the player that you want?
I mean, listen, he's not a player that was like on top of my priority list this summer. He's talented. He's better than Alanga. He's better than Ahmad. He's better than any of the other the young attackers that we've got, and we've got to improve. And I said that on the show last night. Maybe this is where Manchester United are as a football club. Maybe this is just where we are, where we've got to understand that until we start playing better football, until we sort out the things behind the scenes, that this is the level of player that we're going to be able to sign.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be that realization. Young Tommy, thank you very much for coming
Anytime,
on, mate. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you very much indeed. Next on, we're going to have who's backstage is Shrey's coming on. What are you saying, Shrey?
Hey, Tay, can you hear me?
I can, my friend. What are you here to say?
Yeah, I just want to say, I just want all Chelsea fans to just like chill out, like seriously, because I came on one of your streams a couple of months ago when this Todd Bowley stuff was on that Chelsea are legit, and now I think people can see why, because we went and got Sterling, Koulibaly, all these guys. Now I think the key thing here is that Tuchel has been backed. Now that is for me is the best thing I've seen in 20 years. I think that's why Chelsea fans just need to chill out, back this guy, and also I think what fans need to remember is that Todd Bowley tried to buy Chelsea in 2018. Let's also remember that from Abramovich. Abramovich just said no. So I think this guy knows what he's doing. Like he's done research, he knows his stuff. So I think we all have to be patient, back this guy, because this guy's putting his money where his mouth is. Like because they talked about revamping the stadium. Now apparently they've already started work on that. He's signing players for the men's, even women's. I think they made 5 signings, I believe, and even the academy is spending. They're spending on the academy. So I think we all will be fine. I think in terms of Chelsea, and Chelsea fans, like, stop panicking, relax, just chill, let Chelsea do their magic.
Fair
I
enough.
think De Jong will be. I think that the De Jong situation. What I'm struggling to figure out is if the contract situation, like PK and Busquets are taking pay cuts, and it won't be an issue with De Jong. I don't understand why I'm trying to figure out why they're going to court. That is
Well,
a bit strange to me.
because he's not willing to drop it. That's why. Like PK and Busquets again. This whole I love Barca from De Jong. He doesn't love Barca like PK and Busquets do, who are born and bred. You know, this is a player that's. It's I'd like to play there. He ain't taking no pay cuts, so they're trying to force him to. But we'll see what happens. Straight. Thank you very much, mate, for coming on and having your say. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Next up, we're bringing a little mini panel out today. We've got Kai, Aussie Gunnar. We're going to get Pab. We're going to get Chelsea OG and Ninos as well. Is that 3 Australians on one show? My God. I didn't know so many Aussies or people from down under liked, or at least it's a proper sport. None of that weird Aussie rules football or that game you play with a stick. Do you know what I mean? No disrespect. My family are Australian, by the way. It's there's a lot of stick there. Do you know what I mean? Average at cricket as well. Bang average at rugby. No good athletes. That's just Australia for you. No, I'm only joking. I love Australia. Let's get this mini panel out this morning, people. Let's do it. Morning, gents. How are we all?
Morning.
Good, man.
Yeah, bless.
Good. You're from Australia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I recognized it. I want to go to Pav first this morning. Man United, Gakpo, but more importantly, I want to hear your thoughts on Rabiot.
To be fair, with this club, I don't know where to start, mate. Gakpo, look, I'll be honest, Terry, at this point, I don't even care about the signings anymore because what this club's done to us, it's unforgivable. But just to say on Gakpo, I'll take him. The fact that Arsenal wanted him, I'll take him just because of the fact Arsenal have been signing quality, and if they wanted Gakpo as well, there's something there with that guy. There's quality in him. He's talented, touted around, seen enough clubs linked to him. But we're really going in for him now because of that whole Arnautovic thing, which was a disgrace in the first place. The fact that those two idiots didn't do their homework on the guy, and if they did, and knew what was surrounding him, and they were still willing to go ahead with it until they were bombarded by fans and phone calls, emails, kick it out racism groups contacting them. They were willing to go ahead with this. And obviously that's not happening no more. So they're looking at this guy. Don't know how much we're going to end up paying for him because obviously PSV progressed last night by beating Monaco. And the whole Rabiot thing, mate, I don't even want the guy at this club. The fact that there's so many articles about how him and his family, especially his mother, like to cause problems, like to have controversy, arguments with other players, arguments with the board, arguments with this person, that person. This guy should be nowhere near our club. And we're really getting him because we're in a spot now that these lot messed up for the last 3 to 4 months. Lied to the fans, lied to the people who they met at the pub to let them know we've got all this money, we're going to back the manager. Now we're going for someone who's not even wanted at Juve. We're going for their sloppy seconds. Like what's Arnold and Murta doing? Did they go to the London offices, dusted off the cobwebs down and got Woodward's archives on what he was looking at like in the past 10 years, and now we're going for all these players again? Like, what's changed at this club? Nothing. The way that they're disrespecting Erik ten Hag, I'd like to know what's going on in that guy's mind, because he must be thinking, what have I done by coming here? Like, this man's on about telling Frankie that we're only going to be at the UCL for a year. And bruv, you're here for 3 years. You're not getting in the UCL in them 3 years. I know that. Anyone with a brain cell knows that we're not getting back into the UCL within 3 years. He'll be gone. I reckon he'll be gone within 2 years. He won't stay here. They'll either kick him out so they can go get their prodigal son. I forgot his name. The one who was at PSG.
Tina.
Yeah, I guarantee it. They'll be looking at him after a year. They've already let this manager down. They've let the fans down. Now we're on about doing a protest, walking out of the game or not even turning up for Liverpool. That ain't gonna happen. I guarantee it. They'll all be standing outside that stadium. They'll see people walking in, and all these people are sitting here, empty Old Trafford and all this. They'll be all walking back in because this fan base ain't got a backbone. You've got people at a protest wearing a fucking shirt, bruv. What are you doing shouting, let's shut the megastore while you're standing there with a megastore bag in your hand and you're trying to close down the store after you've just bought a shirt? Like, what are you lot doing? This is why people laugh at us. You know what I mean? This fan base doesn't have a backbone. You'll have people telling us, you support your way, you do what you do, but I'm going to support the club my way. But you're still tweeting out Glazer out, but you're going to sit there buying shirts and you're going to tell people that you're going to support the club your way. Don't get involved. You sit there with your shirts and your merchandise. You know what I mean? I've had enough of people like this whole. Like, I'll sit there, tweet out Glazer out just to like push the thing out. But I haven't bought a shirt since Fergie retired because I knew what was going to happen. I saw what was happening with the Moyes stuff at that time. I haven't been to a game since post like 2018. I can't be asked putting money into a club, and it's like. Even the weekend gone, I didn't even watch the game. I didn't want to ruin my sleeping pattern to come to like wake up early to watch a game that I had a bad feeling about anyway. Woke up and saw that we lost 2-1, and I couldn't get back to sleep. My blood was boiling. Like, this club's a disgrace, man. Like, nothing's gonna change. And then what we're hearing about the two geezers on about buying a hostile bid to buy Man United. Where have you lot been for the past 10 years? You could have got the club cheaper at that point. You're coming in now, and I don't believe it's going to happen. Glazers are going to laugh at them. What group have you got who's going to like come up with like £5 to £6 billion to buy that club? They ain't got the peas. What I've been told, the guy who's doing that interview, he's only got about 10 million net worth. Like, he's literally got no more than 10 mil. Like, bro, like, who do you know? Who's got these billions? Who's going to help you buy the club? No one.
Well, look. I'm doing some more research into that before I actually kind of talk about it. But that's the idea of the consortium: is you're bringing in lots of rich people to raise that money. If you look at the
no, but why would they need him if they've got all them billions, like all these rich people? Why do they need him when he's got like no more than 10 mil or whatever?
Yeah, that's because he's orchestrating. But he did say in the interview that if they get in Radcliffe, who they're chasing to come in, he literally said, my job will be redundant because this guy would take over it. But we'll see. Like, listen. At least he's doing something. At least he's coming out and saying something.
I mean, I hope it happens. I really do.
I do get where you're coming from, Pab, and I do understand that the frustration. I want to speak Gakpo with the Gooners as well, but I want to speak a little bit of Chelsea as well. We've got Kai here. We've got Kai here with us. Aubameyang, De Jong. I just want to read something out just been posted here by another Spanish source. They've said that Frankie De Jong is extremely angry with Barcelona. He thinks he's a victim of a planned media slander campaign. His lawyers have contacted the AFE, FIFA Pro, and La Liga to denounce the club on their treatment of the Dutchman. They're not happy with the way the club have been speaking about him. Stories about, and I knew this would happen. The whole he's only really staying to get the money. How are you guys feeling? How confident are you as Chelsea fans feeling, Kai and CFCOG, about getting Frankie De Jong and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang?
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good to move on from the novels and the sad stories of Manchester United to the novels of Frankie De Jong and his sad story, man. Because I gotta be honest, man, De Jong. I feel at the same time I feel bad for him. But like when lions hunt gazelles, it's a good opportunity for Chelsea. You know what I mean? So if we can get De Jong, Terry, you already know I love that guy, man. Like I love the player. He's so freaking underrated by Premier League fans. He's such a talented guy, and we had a fan come before and said that we already have someone like De Jong. No, we don't, because De Jong knows what he's going to do before he even receives the ball. We don't have that at Chelsea. We have a lot of guys who get the ball and then they decide what they're gonna do with it, which takes a lot of time. And if you know Chelsea, if you've been watching Chelsea, you know us making decisions isn't that easy. But with Aubameyang, I like Aubameyang. I think Lego Man kind of ruined his career when he played him on the right, on the wing. I think if he comes to Chelsea, I think with the players that we have around him, with the level of players we have around him, man, compared to what he had when he had at Arsenal. Come on, those are the squad that we have at Chelsea compared to what we had at Arsenal at the time is night and day, man. So I can't wait personally. I can't wait to see what if we get that over the line. I'll be happy. I can't complain, to be honest.
Yeah, same here basically. Can you guys all hear me?
Yeah, go for it, my guy.
Yeah, same here. I mean, honestly, it benefits you guys anyway. Once we get De Jong, you guys can have J5. I'll say they can have Jorginho from us afterwards.
Mate, listen, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I quite like Jorginho. I know a lot of Chelsea fans don't. I quite like him, and he's a player that I've always thought was very, very good. Just maybe not utilized. I'd take J5 every day of the week over
For 50
Rabiot.
mil though, or 50 mil.
But yeah, I mean, we're paying around 20 mil for Rabiot. I'd rather buy Jorginho myself. But I mean, you guys, if you guys get De Jong, you're getting a serious player. And what it does appear like when you listen to the British press anyway is that De Jong would prefer Chelsea. So it's almost if the stuff with Barca gets resolved, you're getting him. What about Aubameyang? Because of course,
Aubameyang,
I get a feeling Arsenal fans are a little. I feel like Arsenal fans are a bit nervous about Chelsea getting him.
You know it, bruv. If he gets them goals, like Obama what? It's gonna backfire on every man. You know, all the Arsenal fans. It's gonna be Giroud 2.0. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah. Obviously, we could get a big pie on our face if he scores 2 goals, does a Welbeck for us. You know, but I reckon he'll get 20 plus GA, especially the amount of games Chelsea play. We always playing 50 plus games.
Yeah. What do you Gooners think? What are you Gooners saying about Aubameyang joining?
Bro, if they can have Aubameyang and they can take anyone else they want alongside him, it's not going to make a big difference. Aubameyang for Chelsea. Chelsea have had the same. Chelsea have had a system where they bring in whenever they want, whoever they want, however they want. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Like I heard a lot of people talking recently on your podcast about how much money Arsenal have spent this season or the last couple of seasons, but no one understands this is how Chelsea began in 2003. They spent this amount of money year after year after year and even more before getting into a place where they had a team that was pretty much able to take the Premier League, able to take the Champions League. So someone like Aubameyang, we got rid of him. If he can't perform at Arsenal, I don't think someone like Aubameyang is going to be able to perform at Chelsea. And Giroud didn't really, we can't say Giroud had a great season at Chelsea when he went over to Chelsea. Giroud really didn't really do anything. It was Chelsea around Giroud that did something.
I disagree with that. I disagree. I think Giroud was one of the pivotal players for us to win the Champions League, something that Arsenal haven't won in the entirety of their history. So
here we go.
Saying that he wasn't influential is crazy to me. Like if you watch this game against Sevilla,
my question to you: when were you a Chelsea fan? Was it 2004 or 5? Whereabouts?
Well, considering the fact that I'm only 27 years old, bro, like
young blood up in here.
23 is 2003. It's a long time ago for me, man.
We understand why you missed. We understand why you missed out on going for a good team, sir.
I'll put it to you this way, yeah. I'll put it to you this way: in 5.5 years, Mourinho has the same amount of Premier League as Arsene Wenger had in 21 years at Arsenal, man. That's all I have to say, man. When Chelsea was born, Arsenal died, my friend. So all I'm going to say.
We can speak about that, but then if you think about before 2003, it was how long? 50 years before anything?
What? We were winning things in 98, 99.
When we get to 50 years, then we'll talk.
Yeah, but Arsenal right now is what Chelsea was in the late 90s and the early 2000s. So basically, we switched roles.
Let me ask
actually mark that off because Arsenal never won the Champions League. So we surpassed you.
Kai, let me ask you a question. I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans think that they're going to finish in front of Chelsea this year. What's your take on that, Kai?
I mean, we got Cucurella, a guy who City wanted to replace what's his name? Forgot the guy, the midfielder who wasn't good enough, so they played him as left back. What's his name? Forgot his name. Jivchenko, I think it was his name.
Zinchenko.
Yeah. And then they got Gabriel Jesus, who couldn't even play a lot of games for City. He most of the time came off the bench. Arsenal fans, it's the same. History repeats itself, with everything, man. Arsenal fans, every time they have a good signings, they win a few games, die off in December. We're gonna win the league, and then Robbie, when is it gonna end, Robbie? When is it gonna end? It's the same circle. Once I see otherwise, that's the only time I'm gonna say.
No, they're better now. They're better now.
Based on what?
I'm used to it. I don't say anything in response because I know that I've got a couple of Chelsea mates as well.
So am I. Therefore, what I'm saying. Therefore, of course, I'm used to it.
Yeah,
To be honest, if you look at Arsenal's team, they're a lot of them players are all playing on the same wavelength. Chelsea, you're bringing in a fair amount of players. It looks like all of them going to actually be on the same wavelength, like throughout the season. You've had a lot of them Arsenal players been there for what 2-3 years, and from what you can see and what you've read, and even through that Amazon documentary now, you could tell that a lot of them are like gelling together. That's something that Chelsea might be missing, and it all depends because like even Conte, the league's bread and butter for him. So even like that Tottenham team would do well. I think it'll be like the battle between Chelsea, Arsenal, and obviously Tottenham.
We'll find out this week when we face Tottenham. Like that will show a lot.
Big show. Odigunu, are you there, my friend? Or have you dropped somewhere? You might have gone somewhere. Listen, Pav, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your side. I want to bring in some
no worries, man.
Top man. Speak to you soon. Thank you, Pav. Just to give a roundup on the news in terms of what we're talking about today to anyone new that's tuning in. Man United is seemingly looking to close the deal for Rabiot today. John Myrtle was flying to meet the agent of the player, which is his mother, Veronica, to finalize the personal deals. A fee is already agreed with Juve, and that deal could be done and over the line by close of business today. Gakpo bid from Man United is expected to happen as well. Plus, we're talking Frankie de Jong and Aubameyang to Chelsea with you, the fans. So make sure you're smashing like and share buttons. Adding him to the show now, Barca fan, Abdul's here with us. What you saying, Abdul?
Hey.
Yo, Terry, like I feel like the Arsenal fan is being way too harsh on Aubameyang, man. Like, how do you expect him to perform at the age of 32 when your manager's playing him as left wing back, bro? You can't be doing that, man.
Exactly.
You're playing him left wing back, bro. This guy is 33 now. He has to be in the box, man. He's been amazing for us. His attitude has been amazing. Like, I really don't want to lose him, Terry, man. Aubameyang, he's been like this, like shining light in our team because. Yes, his link-up play isn't amazing. It just isn't. His first touch isn't amazing, but if you need goals, he'll give you goals, Terry. Like, if you put him in the box, you can't put him on the wings anymore. He's not that player anymore. You feel me? It's like Mane. Like, Mane on the wing in 2022, it don't work anymore. Like, he has to be in and around the box. That's where he's effective. And I feel like for Arsenal, towards the end, like, he just didn't. It didn't work for Arteta's system. Like, he was playing him all the wrong places. And I feel like he also had a falling out with Arteta. So I feel like you're being harsh by just writing him off, man. I still think he's a really good player, man. And honestly, I don't want us to get rid of him. So if you guys get him, like Chelsea fans, I think he's what you need because let's be honest, the market is dead. Like there is no other attackers in the market right now. So that's what I wanted to say.
But we've played Aubameyang through the middle. If you've watched any of the Arsenal games, he played through the middle most of his career there. Even when he came back off that top season when he scored most of the goals, he still ended up playing in the middle. He just could not perform. He went on a massive drought. Then he went to Barcelona. He had a great 6 games, and then he went on another drought. And you're comparing La Liga, goal scoring in La Liga versus goal scoring in the Premier League.
But who is the last guy?
It's just not a comparison. Aubameyang, Memphis Depay was scoring goals in Barcelona, turning people upside down. In what's called United, it wasn't. So it's 2 different leagues.
No, but you can't do that because I can tell you players who flopped in La Liga who's done amazing in the Premier League.
Yeah, but I could tell you Timo Werner scored how many goals in German league, and then he went to Chelsea, and what did he do?
What did Hazard do in the Premier League?
All right, we get it.
It's not. I don't think it's about the league. I think it's more about the system and the manager he's playing for. Like, you have to understand, Aubameyang played under Tuchel before Tuchel knows him in and out.
Can I counter that, Terry, with the Aubameyang thing?
Yeah, go
who's the last player that's who scored 20 goals for you in the Premier League?
In what season?
I'm just saying in general. Let's go 3 seasons since I know you didn't have a goal score of that level for the last years. Yeah,
but you're talking about a rebuilding Arsenal that had nobody.
But it's literally he is the last.
Other than him, who was our striker other than him?
No, but let me answer you. Who is the last striker in the Premier League for Arsenal to score 20 goals? Aubameyang. In the Premier League, you're saying he came from La Liga. He didn't score. We're talking about his goal score in the Premier League. He's the highest Premier League goal scorer for Arsenal the last 3 years. And you only sold him because Arteta came in, and that was under Arteta. How many goals did he score under what's his name, Emery? So obviously the problem is not him. The problem is the manager because he scored in the Premier League 20 goals.
But it's the problem. But
That
the
logic is
problem.
just
You're
completely
talking about
broken.
problem being Arsenal. If Arsenal is the problem
Yes.
and the manager is the problem, he came off a season scoring, then he came onto a season that he stopped scoring.
But under who?
So you can't consider he's had one good season at
No, he
Arsenal.
didn't have. He had 2 good seasons. Even when he started,
Yeah.
he came in January. How many goals did he score in that January? He scored as
Okay,
many more goals than
I
Saka
hope
did the
you
whole
guys get
season.
him. I hope you guys get him, and then
But
I'll be back on here when you do get him and he doesn't score.
Do you get what I'm saying? Why your whole logic is flawed? Because he's the last striker for you, or any player in your team.
You're talking about an Arsenal that's going, brother. You're talking about an Arsenal that's going through a rebuild. It's not Arsenal through those years didn't have someone like your owner who was turned around and said, "We want any player we can pick, anyone you can buy."
But
I'm sorry,
any single player.
isn't it even more impressive that he managed
Exactly.
to pull up those numbers?
Not really. You made it last season. Last season, you made $100 million mistake, and you were able to cover that $100 million mistake by sending it back out on loan. So please, you cannot tell me.
A poor man should not tell a rich man how to spend his money, man. Remember that saying?
I think we're missing something here. I'm sorry to interject, Kai. I think we're missing something, right? Aubameyang was very good for Arsenal pretty much until Arteta came in. That isn't because Arteta, I'm not saying good or bad manager is not irrelevant. He wanted to do something different, a new direction, wanted different types of players. Like, this is what happens at what Aubameyang suffered with for me at Arsenal is what's happened at Man United many times. He was bought by, I swear he was bought by Wenger, right?
Yep.
He was bought by Wenger. Then a new manager in Emery came in, and then a new manager in Arteta came in. This is what happens when you end up when you have a squad. And Tuchel's suffering with this at Chelsea. Like, there are players that he's having to work with that were bought by 2 or 3 managers ago, and he hasn't had the chance yet, for one reason or another, to flush out all the players he doesn't want and build his own team. The reason that Pep and Klopp are where they are is because they've been given the time. Yes, City won the league within a year of Pep being there because they already had a team that was capable of winning the league because they won it, the year before he came in, as an example. It was a little bit longer for Jurgen Klopp to get to a point where he could win the league because it took 2 or 3 years to sort of build things. That's why I think like Aubameyang kind of fell away at Arsenal, because the new direction, new ideas, and he wasn't kind of part of that. The mistake they made as a club was giving him a 300 grand a week contract in the midst of all of that. They should have been smart, moved him on sooner. You probably could have, at some point under Arteta, you probably could have raised 20-30 million pounds for him and reinvested that into the squad. And that's, they haven't been flawless in this rebuild, Arsenal, in terms of their processes behind things. But I think at Chelsea, I think Aubameyang could and will do bits. So we thought like Lukaku would just be putting that ball in the back of the net, and I still think he would have done, by the way, if he really wanted to be there. And I don't think Lukaku's touch or a lack of ability was the biggest issue with him at Chelsea last year. It's the fact that he wanted to get back with his ex. Like, this guy moved in with a new woman, but I'm not saying any of you guys have ever done this, but he was literally having sex with his new woman, but picturing his ex. That's what he was doing the whole time. And I know guys that have done that. Do you know what I mean? It does make you last a little bit longer. But the point is, but at the end of the day, like, that's what I think Lukaku is doing. It'll be a decent signing. It really, really will. Abdul, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. I appreciate it, mate. Top man. Thank you. We're going to add a Spurs fan to the mix. They're very confident.
Oh, God.
Orchie's here with us. What are you saying, mate? You're on mute, bro.
Not saying anything.
Sorry.
It's already started good.
Everything you guys are saying sounds great, but it's all mute point because Spurs are going to get third. They're going to finish ahead of Arsenal. They're going to finish ahead of Chelsea. And I'll tell you why. Because even before this summer and all the transfers that we had, if the season had started from November when Conte came into Spurs, even with, and I know people are saying Arsenal had the injuries and stuff, we had our injuries. Romero was out from about March onwards. What's his name? All the other guys, all basically our defense, which was a joke before Conte arrived. And the way he turned around Ben Davies, Dyer, all these guys, what's his name? The other one, the Irish guy, and even Royale, Emerson Royale. Yeah, exactly. He turned all of them around, and basically had the season started in November when Conte arrived, Spurs would have finished third. That's a fact from the points tally. But now, adding what we've added over the summer, and also Conte the manager that he is, that's what I'm confident about. I was watching literally just before I logged in. I was watching Terry's show with Lee Gunner was it last night, Terry?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, yesterday. I really love that guy because he talks so much sense. And I got to tell you, I think Arsenal definitely, they've made some good signings for sure. I'm not discounting that at all. But I think Arsenal's biggest weakness is Arteta himself. I really don't rate that guy. I
agree.
After 3 years, I mean, imagine if Conte was given 3.5 seasons and nearly £500 million to spend on Tottenham. Where do you think Tottenham would be? Where do you think Tottenham would be?
He doesn't need it. A good manager doesn't need that much time.
Exactly. That's the litmus test. So to say I agree, all right, Terry might see. I mean, Terry is the biggest closet Arsenal fan I've ever seen, Terry.
Terry, yeah. No.
I know you say nice things about Tottenham and Chelsea and whatever, but you are genuinely one of the biggest closet Arsenal fans I've ever seen.
I get it, though.
Last year.
Hey, man, you can't beat a broken man when he's down. That's why he's nice.
When I was last season, when you signed Antonio Conte, and I said you're making top 4, and every gooner and every Chelsea fan was berating me. They called me a secret. They called me a secret Spurs fan. When I predicted Tottenham fan, when I predicted that Liverpool would catch City, and I did think they'd beat them to the title. I mean, my prediction of them catching City and winning the league, I was wrong, but I wasn't wrong by like a country mile. Like, how close were Liverpool to winning the league? Everybody said I was mad. They said I was a
Terry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, one sec, mate. As a year before that, when I was saying how good Chelsea were and how good they were looking, I was a secret Chelsea fan. Now, I'm not secret anything. I'm just unbiased. I just have opinions. And I know you're only joking. What are you saying, Ninos?
So just a quick one, because you said if Conte was given that much money under Tottenham and this, well, he was given that much money under Chelsea and he got sacked. So it made no sense.
He also won the Premier League.
Exactly. But he also got sacked. The point is he got sacked. I love how you guys just and deviate. We're talking about he got sacked. We're not talking about he won the Premier League.
But he got sacked by Abramovich, and we all know Abramovich. Even if you come second, or even if you come third, if you don't win the Champions League, if you don't do certain things, you're out, mate. You're out. Like for teams like us, Spurs, Gooners, even Manchester United, if you get into the top 3, top 2, or maybe not top 2, but
not anymore,
like third or whatever, and you win it, or you're doing well at least, or there's some sort of progress, you'll be given time. But Chelsea is the one club out of all of the teams, even even City, even Liverpool. Like Abramovich is notorious for not having any kind of patience in terms of
and it's perfect. And it's perfect you said that. You know why? I wanted you to say that because now Abramovich is not there. This is where I was getting to. I'm not sitting here backing and saying Arsenal have made the best signings this season. I didn't even tell you where they're going to finish. But what I am saying is that Abramovich is not there anymore. This will be make or break season for Chelsea. Because if it doesn't work out for Chelsea this season, you know what it was? It's Abramovich. That's what everyone's going to start saying. So it's the money. And we know Todd Bowley will spend the money. But at the end of the day, Abramovich, look at Chelsea right now. I don't care what anyone says. They have no plan in place. That team's going for a player. Let's go for him. That's it. Unless you literally, hold on a second. Unless you literally have right now, you got the phone number of Thomas Tuchel, and he's telling you he had these players in his mind. I don't believe anybody. Any single time they see on the market, someone goes for some player, instantly, let's go bid for that. We want that. Oh, we want that. Oh, we want that.
That's actually not true.
That's what's happening.
Can I respond? That's not what happened. That's literally just your imagination.
Then show me the source where it isn't happening. I believe my 2 eyes. Show me the source.
First of all, Chelsea are buying quality that Arsenal could never attract. You're buying
players that nobody wants. You're getting declined by quality though.
Cucurella is much better than Shevchenko as a left back.
And who was going for Cucurella before you guys were?
City was going for him actually to replace the player that you bought.
But why wouldn't they City get him? Because City weren't willing to pay the money you were willing to pay.
But at the end of the day, how much did you buy Shevchenko for? Because we were able to pay
30 mil
amount of money. Yeah, exactly. We did.
He's a Man City player versus a Brighton player.
But
He's won more. You want to talk about titles? He's won more titles than Cucurella.
Cucurella is better than Zinchenko.
Why would City want to let your guy go to get ours?
Exactly.
If he's so much better, because they want to upgrade on him. He was there to fill a gap. He's a center midfielder playing as a left back.
So you're saying to me, if City wanted Cucurella, they wouldn't have had him by now?
They didn't want to pay them because City, unlike Chelsea, they don't spend as much as they want on a player. They have
not anymore.
They can pay. They literally did the same thing with Kane. They have
what you're just saying right now is the same thing. You just explained to me the same thing. So Sterling came to you guys. You're telling me City let go of a quality player to Chelsea because they didn't want him, or is it because Chelsea are the only team that would have paid Sterling's wages in the whole EPL?
But he didn't want to be there no more. Man City always move players on when they don't want to be there. If they don't want to be there, they don't want anything to do with them.
You think if Arsenal came for Sterling and Chelsea came for Sterling, you think he would go to Arsenal?
Again, we're not talking about Arsenal here. I'm talking about Chelsea.
Again,
you're explaining to me. You said to me he's coming to Chelsea.
I'm proving your point.
You guys paid more than any EPL team will pay for Sterling. Where did you read that said Chelsea wanted to move to Sterling wanted to move to Chelsea? Which article did you see? Because that came out of nowhere.
Sterling was already linked to Chelsea since last year. He wanted to.
So you're telling me that? So he was unhappy at City.
Yeah, he was unhappy at City, which is why he was running his contract down.
Or is it because City had paid 100 million for an Aston Villa player, which they needed to put on in Jack Grealish, which they needed to push Sterling out because Sterling was demanding high wages. And you are the only team that would pay those wages. No other team.
No, because we're one of the few teams who can afford.
And then hold on a second. Then Jesus comes to Arsenal, and you say, "Why would Jesus go to Arsenal? He's downgrading." It just makes no sense.
No, it does make a lot of sense. Because look how many games Sterling started for City.
It's just Chelsea vision.
Gabriel started for City.
Well, Jesus went to Arsenal because he knew he was going to get game time. He was a guaranteed.
Exactly. Go to the World Cup.
But anyway, let me respond.
Definitely because of World Cup, because of people like even Sterling with Alvarez and Haaland coming in wasn't gonna. He was going to get rotated, and he didn't want to get rotated. He wanted to be a guaranteed start every.
Let me respond to this whole thing. Where I'm from, we have a saying, man. Big men don't talk a lot. Small men talk a lot, and it's true in this case.
Is that Dutch?
Look when is the last time neither of you did anything of significance? Arsenal and Spurs. When is the last time you actually finished above Chelsea? Look at us. Look at me and this Chelsea fan. I don't know your name. Excuse me. Look how much you talked. And what's the last trophy you talk about Conte being sacked from Chelsea because he was sacked.
Yeah, but he still won the title.
He won the title. You kept Arteta after winning the FA Cup. That's the standard between my club and your club.
I told you one difference is
still be sold. What's the difference?
I'm not turning around. I'm not turning around saying anything. It's funny enough for you because I'm not turning around saying anything about Arsenal winning titles. But if we were to say an FA Cup was won, Chelsea supporters would make that cup look this small.
Yeah, because we won the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. So you'd make that cup look this small. But prior to winning the Champions League, your mouth weren't open, but you weren't around, so we wouldn't know anyway. You wouldn't know about that.
Look, the FA Cup is respectable, man.
The point of being in the competitions is, let's be honest, is to win silverware. Is to be in the competition, and also. And that is the whole point. And I think I completely accept that Spurs have done, especially in the Premier League era since 1992. And look, I'm 44 years old, so I'm old enough and ugly enough to know, Spurs have done F all for 30 odd years. All right, couple of small Carling Cup wins here and there. But there's also a saying, every dog has his day. Now, Tottenham have been, historically though, they are a significant club for the English league. Tottenham have won European Cups in the 80s and the 60s and the 70s. And technically speaking, it has been a sleeping giant. What is different? I know everyone's saying Spursy this, Spursy that, Spurs always mess it up. Now, the fact of the matter is, the reason why I'm so confident is because, look, I'm not discounting Arsenal. I'm not discounting Chelsea at all. Obviously, I'm not stupid. But the reason why I think, which hasn't quite been articulated, is the fact that if you look at Tottenham as a club, in our history, we've never been especially in the Premier League era, we've never really been in this position. Even when we had Poch and we seemed to be heading in that direction, we hadn't quite done it because the stadium hadn't been finished. I think there was a lot of things that needed to be in place for Tottenham to be able to challenge. I mean, White Hart Lane was 36,000 capacity. When you have a stadium like that, you cannot pay the kind of money that the big teams like the Uniteds, the Liverpools, the Cities, the Chelseas, and even the Arsenals of this world are able to pay. So I remember back in like 2008, 2009, Levy does this open letter at the end of every season, at the beginning of every season. And he lays out like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're planning. And fair enough, back then it seemed all like talk because, until you see it, the proof is in the pudding. But it was all, I remember those letters, him saying, look, for us to be able to really go on to that next level, we need a new stadium. We need at least double our capacity. We need to sort out our training facility, etc., etc. Anyway, so now I'm looking back the last 10, 12 years. In that time, had they done what they has Levy produced what he promised? And I have to hold my hand up and say he has, because we have one of the best training facilities in the world. We have now one of the best club stadiums in the world and it's not just a football arena. We've had Guns N' Roses playing there a couple of weeks ago. We had Lady Gaga doing concerts. We've got NFL games. I know. We got NFL.
guys, listen.
What about the football?
I'm going to be quick. And now we've got someone like Conte. We've never had a manager in Conte's sort of
documentary, man.
Quality. So this is why I think a lot of Spurs fans are so excited for this year.
And looking
at what he did the last 7 months last year, I think taking that forward, who knows what we're going to do this season? And I think we have to do well as well.
We're going to draw this week.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt. I do get this. Listen, I've got to go. I'm late for an appointment, and the show is meant to be 45 minutes, nearly an hour and 15 minutes. I'm very Aussie Goon. I wanted to chat to you, mate. You had to shoot somewhere.
I'm sorry, boys. I'm very sorry for everyone that was in the live chat. I had to jump off and then I jumped back in again. I feel like an absolute fucking prick. I'm sorry.
Listen, viewers,
Your guy needed help, so yeah.
Thank you for tuning in and having your say. We're back later today with Ben Jacobs at 4 p.m. So make sure you're tuning in. We'll have another one of these tomorrow morning for you as well, though, people. So make sure you're here back with us from around 8 a.m. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.